these are landmines. They're equivalent to about a 250-pound bomb. And what they did in many cases, they would put beams across from this one to this one to this one and on more, so that no matter where your vehicle went, it would set a bomb off. Of course, one bomb would set them all off. But that was what they were digging out all the time on Iwo Jima. Now that's the Florida. That's the landmine that Shorty Hope, our great driver, said would never go off if you do it over in fifth gear. Now there's a little story here. There was they use these liaison planes. This one happened to be made by Piper and Stinson and Cessna. All three of them made that. The reason I've got this pilot, there he had several of them, he flew off this ship. It was a baby aircraft carrier called the Bismarck C. And it had a lot of F-4U Corsair Marines flew up there too. But he would fly off there, do his tour, drop bombs, then spot where they could fire bombs and so forth. And whatever he did, and he'd go back to the carrier. Of course, he'd get out of the airplane, he'd go back to his room and take a shower, and the rest of the crew would take care of it. Well, here's what happened. And maybe I got it here, the days. It was about 15 days into Iwo Jima, as I remember. About 45 or 50 kamikaze planes came from Tokyo Bay. About 11 o'clock in the morning, they hit Iwo Jima. They flew over Iwo Jima and they sunk a bunch of ships. And two of them hit this ship broadside and it sunk within minutes. And many of the crew were lost. While he was on patrol, that ship got sunk. And so that's why you see his airplane Motoyama #1 or #2 airport. He's flying off the Iwo Jima airport now. So we had a break. I was on there for about half an hour. And being interested in flying, and I was asking all kinds of questions and so forth. And he was complaining because now he got to pump his own gas. He has to do all that stuff himself. And he doesn't have a crew out there to take care of it. But I was interested in that airplane because it had the great big tail assembly. It was 7 feet long, and Stinson's tail assembly, and a Cessna gear, and it had I knew enough about airplanes at that time to know that it was made by several different manufacturers. So after the war, when I got 2 nickels together, I bought one.
Oh, cool.
There it is.
Oh.
My wife and I saw Canada and Mexico and New York and the Pacific back all from the cockpit of that airplane. We flew it for hundreds and hundreds of hours. And it had the same tail, exactly, that tail right there. And the same manufacturer, that's what struck me so funny. I guess that's why it's in there. That's Dynamite, the first B-29 to land on see how why that interested me so much, I don't know. But, anyway, that was it. Well, we didn't think we wanted anything at all until Dynamite came in. And then we realized that Iwo Jima was going to save a lot of lives. And what happened in a period of time after February 19th until the end of the war, or close to the end of the war, 2,500 B-29s landed on Iwo Jima in an emergency condition that would not have made Tinian. And it was an unbelievable thing, because all you do is the math. 25,000 airmen lives were saved because Iwo was taken. We gave up 6,100 Marines, And there were 8,012 burial places on Iwo Jima after, before we left. And the reason I'm walking up here now is I'm gonna finish this up with something that might grab you a little bit, but it worked. Closing. I want you to take a little trip with me. How about if we all go to Iwo Jima? Let's turn that flag back. I want you to see that center. We're all going to go to Iwo Jima. And we're going to stand at attention by a white picket fence that isn't there yet, next to a cemetery that has 8,012 beautifully built little white crosses, built by the Seabees. You're standing there now, and this cemetery is just the beginning, but it goes on and on for almost a quarter and a half a mile. 8,012 white crosses. We're standing alongside these white picket fence at attention, and you're gazing over 8,012 white crosses perfectly aligned. And gazing at those crosses, you see they only touch a color in that absolute wilderness, wasteland, brown rock, volcanic sand. Then you let your eyes drift a little bit to the west-southwest. On top of Suribachi is an awe-inspiring, beautiful picture of the American flag waving in the breeze. Looking over those thousands of white crosses, marking the locations of Marines, soldiers, sailors, corpsmen, airmen, pilots, construction Seabees, and anybody else that was in harm's way on Iwo Jima was subject to death. We're reminded that on D+4, just 5 days into the battle, those lying there cheered. They cheered when they saw that flag go up. An American flag raised on top of Suribachi. But they would never ever see another flag. Ladies and gentlemen, they came from all corners of America. They were Scotch, Irish, English, Hispanic, and Jewish, Indian, Italian, colored, white, rich and poor. But together, all together as one unit, they fought to make a difference. One of the generals said, "Uncommon valor was common." That, ladies and gentlemen, to my mind, would be the purest and the most highest form of democracy. So over a loudspeaker now, you're going to hear the closing words of the chaplain. Standing there, you're looking at those 8,012 graves. He said, anyone here, any person here, over the big loudspeakers, you can hear it for a mile, among us, the living, the survivors of this carnage, this massacre, this unthinkable display of death and destruction, who fails to understand our sacred obligation to keep their memory alive, who betray those who lie here dead. And then he added these words, whoever in his future life lifts a hand against his brother in hate makes of their bloody sacrifices an empty, hollow mockery. Penetrating words to live by, words we'll never forget. So we're all back here at Denny's in Otsego now, and I just want to wish you a good night and thank you so much for coming. I've enjoyed every minute of it.
Thank you.
Yay.